All right, no time is playing game. Welcome back, King Zeph here, back with another video for you guys. Happy Friday, July 3rd, so 4th of July Eve for everybody that's ready to get plastered, hammered, and see a bunch of fireworks over the weekend. So I hope you guys have a very safe holiday weekend and enjoy your time off and enjoying the fireworks and all that other stuff. I'm not a big holiday person. I only really care about Halloween. So I care more about the holidays for gatherings with friends and family more than anything else. Otherwise, I'm not really big on holidays like that. But today is actually going to be the first episode of a series I like to call Unpopular Opinions with King Zeph, where I actually going to go over some kind of relevant news, pop culture wise, gaming, TCG, and all that other random fun stuff. Grant my opinion and see if you guys vehemently disagree with me. I'm expecting a lot of you to vehemently disagree with me and or to argue or potentially, and that's what that comment section down below is for. So I look forward to hearing you guys' opinions, thoughts, and all that other fun stuff. So let's kind of get right back into it, because before I go into a mass opening of Chaos Origins over the weekend, because there's a lot of packs I got to open up because I got a lot of stuff in or coming in this weekend. But gaming wise, it's been an interesting couple weeks because, of course, I believe it was 2 weeks now, or going on 2 weeks now, that we got the word of the Grand Theft Auto 6 pre-order process on the actual release date. And of course, the very bad news of the game coming with a digital code in the box as opposed to having a physical disc, which I understand people's frustration to that, but I actually don't really truly disagree with that idea because, one, I believe the game's probably going to be close to 200, 300 gigs. So putting it on 2 discs is just going to be a pain in the butt. And 2, it also stops the game from being leaked, realistically speaking. And 3, Rockstar is Rockstar. They care about making money. And clearly they've made money because they've made back their budget that they've spent on the game. So I really don't care so much about that. I was already going to game share it with IB Friction to begin with. So we just split it and then purchased it that way. So I understand the arguments and the outrage online. I hear you. It's a game I would have liked to have physically, just to have for the collection, but it is what it is. Maybe in the future, which I highly doubt is going to happen now after what Sony decided to drop this week. Everybody's hoping that they release a physical disc version after the fact, and apparently those rumors were shot down vehemently because everybody online was going, oh, they're going to do a physical copy like in a month or after the release. And then Rockstar came out and said, no, we're not doing that. That has not been the plan. That's not been the discussion. So we'll see how that whole thing folds out. The game doesn't come out to November. It's only July, so we still have some time, and they could change their minds on that. But following that set of bad news and backlash, outside of everybody being outrageous and talking stupid noise about what they're going to do and not going to do, which I really don't believe them, Sony decided to drop this nugget on us a couple days ago. Let me switch screens so you guys can see the blog post article. Physical disc productions ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on the PlayStation consoles. Okay. In response to shifting trends in the consumer preference, new games will be released on the PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continues to shift away from physical disc to digital, physical disc production for all new games releasing on the PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on the PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on the games that are already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adopt to consumer trends as the general format for digital media significantly outpaces physical disc. This transition will enable us to align more closely to how most of our community prefers to access games and play games today. We will continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation to how players can access games, provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's a retailer or a PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. Yes, the internet is not very happy about this one, as well as a lot of noise online. I will bring one little key factor into this article. Even though this article does say all PlayStation games from 2028, I don't fully believe them because Sony really only can control first-party studios. So all PlayStation studios, games they really can control. Games from third-party developers and other companies, they really have no say on that. They could still release games on disc as long as a format supports it. Now, of course, with this article, it means looming that the following new PlayStation 6 or whatever the new PlayStation will be called, hopefully one doesn't release until 2028 or late 2027 at this point, because AI data centers have completely raped and pillaged the PC gaming territory. RAM and SSD costs have gone through the roof, so everything technologically is going up in price pretty much this year. I've already kind of declared it Might have said it on camera once or twice, but I've said it beneath my breath a couple times, especially to my friends and family, that this is not the year to purchase technology, because if you need something, you probably want to get it now before the price blooms out of control, which they are already beginning to do. Cell phones are going up in price. I think Apple has already announced that the new iPhone is going to be more money than it was in the past. And then Samsung with the new Galaxy Folds and Z Flips. Rumor has it that the higher storage tiers, so the 512 and 1 terabyte models, more than likely will be significantly more money. So it is not a good time for this. So that's my perception on that side of things in terms of third-party developers. But I also want to point out another key thing. Everybody on the online is crying about it, and of course, there has been discourse with people preferring physical media and game preservation, and I 100% understand those individuals, and I agree with those individuals wholeheartedly. I'm a person, as you probably might be able to see, I'm actually going to switch camera lenses again, just so it goes just straight to me. That right there is a shelf full of video games and movies, physicals. The first two shelves are mostly all of my PlayStation games, and then followed by all of my Blu-rays, 4K Blu-rays, TV shows. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh box there that's left sealed that I'm keeping for collector purposes. As well, there's another shelf just like it over there, filled with more movies and CDs and games. And then I actually have a shelf down here of physical CDs, because I'm a madman and still actually purchase music physically, mostly vinyl nowadays. I really don't buy CDs like that anymore, because I have YouTube Premium. I do use YouTube Music. I also have Apple Music as well, thanks to my cell phone provider. So I have access to streaming music. So I stream when I'm in the car, listening to my phone for the most part. I do have the high fidelity audio and all the other fun stuff. But when it comes to music for the artists that I love and support, I still buy physical discs. There's literally a record player back over there and a crap ton of vinyls down below it, as well as there's a couple vinyls sitting on my bed that I just got in the mail not that long ago, with more coming soon. So I'm actually a madman and still preface physical media. But I still do purchase digital games. I do game share with IB Friction. So here and I split a lot of digital games, and some games that I just want to have at 11 o'clock at night at release, I'll buy them digitally. But mostly the franchises that I really love, I buy physical. This news does suck. I'm not going to be the Debbie Downer and say that this news doesn't suck. But at the same time, while everybody online is fake boycotting Sony and saying, oh, this will be the last Sony PlayStation console I purchase, or I'm canceling my PSN subscriptions and all that other fun stuff. To be honest with all of you, and it even says in this article, and if you want further proof, you can actually listen to some of the shareholder calls and at the investment breakdowns in Sony in terms of how they make their money from PlayStation. The only person you should be blaming for this transition to 2028 is yourself and the rest of the gaming community. I had this conversation, I believe it might have been on one of the episodes of the podcast. If I can find that episode or find that clip, I'll gladly tag it in the video below for you guys to be able to reference that. But me, myself, IB Friction, and I think Ego also had the same somewhat of the same of lines of conversation, that the gaming community does more harm than good for itself. And what I mean by that is, whenever you see an exploit or a glitch in a game or something that makes something farming easier or getting resources easier, allowing you to kind of circumvent some of the trials and tribulations that you have in certain games, getting past microtransactions, a bunch of other things, or easy way to farm experience or resources so that way you can just go God mode in a game. What generally happens? It gets posted on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, ends up on a YouTube video and a bunch of other places so people have access to see this information, or random blog posts, game facts, achievement sites where they go, hey, this is how you easily do this. And then what happens within generally a couple weeks after that post happens, or it gets millions of views and the developers will see what's going on, they patch it. You get the notification, hey, the patch notes is here, and thus that exploit is now gone, and that resource is no longer available to you in that situation. That same rule applies to this. Out of all the games purchased on the PlayStation Store or for the PlayStation 5 itself, 84% of it, if my memory serves me correctly, I know it's in the mid 80s. I might not be 100% accurate in this number, but I know the number's in the mid 80s. I believe between 82% and 84% of all games purchased on PlayStation 5 have been digitally. That means at most 16% of all games purchased on the PlayStation are physical copies of the game. Let that sink in. This part in this article where it says this is a natural direction for Sony to adopt to consumers' trends as the general preference for digital sites and significantly outpaces physical discs. Yes, 16% of you are only buying physical games. That is a big reason and a big movement of why this transition is happening, because capitalism, money, and of course, Sony and every other major manufacturer, gaming companies and everything else, any form of company, they're not your friends. Their goal is to make money and to make profits. They don't care about anything else. Now, if they are consumer friendly and they have a good fan base and they care about their consumers and they can leverage the care for their consumers into also being profitable, not to say that they don't exist. There are a lot of companies that exist to this very day that are both worker, consumer friendly and all that other stuff and still make a lot of money and still make a lot of profits. They do exist, but they are far and few in between. They're not every single place. So the idea that we as a community and we as a people need to get out of our minds is that these corporations are our friends and that they care about what we think. They don't, because the easiest way to care about how we think is how we spend money with these companies. Now, in terms of everybody crying about, I'm boycotting Sony, I'm canceling my PSN subscription and blah, 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 blah. I'm never buying another console. First and foremost, you already bought the console. Sony already has your money. Second of all, in terms of canceling your PSN account, they already got your money on that too. So you're just canceling whenever it renews, which I think a lot of the posts I've been seeing is like, oh, your renewal in December will no longer exist or whatever it is. So that's all irrelevant because they already got the money. They already won. Boycotts work for corporations in mass numbers, but you have to get the entire community on board with this. And unfortunately, we're hearing a lot of noise, and this is something else that me and Ivory Friction have had a conversation about with, is that the most noise you end up hearing from are from the people in the minority. The people in the 16% are the loudest in the room right now. Everybody else in the 84%, they don't care about this. Or they might be chiming in just like I am and saying, yeah, this sucks because it takes away the choice, but it's not affecting me because I buy my games digitally anyway, so I could care less. That's where you have that divide. Now, the 16% are being very, very loud right now. They're saying a lot of stuff. They're being annoyed. And at the end of the day, I don't believe anything that they're saying. A lot of people talk a lot of noise online saying what they will and won't do, and they'll be the first person in line to purchase the new console, to purchase a new game. Hell, people were talking about, oh, I'm not going to buy GTA 6 because there's not a physical copy. No one cares. Like, seriously, like those are the same people that probably bought GTA 5 all 3 times, where it was on the PS3, the PS4, and the PS5, or the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, and the Xbox Series. Those are the same people that have probably purchased that game every single console generation since that game literally came out over 3 console generations. So let that sink in when it comes to talk about making Rockstar any money. And also, like I said, Rockstar already pretty much reported that they made the budget for the game back in pre-orders within like the first day. So they made billions of dollars in a matter of a day on a game that's not even out yet, that nobody has even really seen gameplay for yet either. The only thing we've seen is that those first 2 trailers that they dropped, they still haven't given us a new trailer. They still haven't given us a new anything else. They just basically told us, hey, here's the price. Here's the additions. This is what you get with them. We'll see you in November. And hopefully that doesn't get altered because they got union stuff. I think some of the Rockstar developers are beginning to form a union. That's a conversation for another day until those details kind of come out. But most of you guys online are lying. You're not telling the truth. You're just yelling into the ether just to be yelling into the ether. Now, what do I ultimately think about this at the end of the day? Here's my approach, and here's what I've been saying to myself on potentially how to fix this problem. Because if, as a community, as a gaming community, and people who are PlayStation fanboys or love the PlayStation platform and all this other stuff, if you really want to cause change, what is the best way to do this? Yes, boycotting works, but you have to get everybody on the same page. I believe wholeheartedly, companies resonate to where the money is being spent. They understand dollars and cents. They don't care about your online outrage. They don't care about you posting. They don't care about all this other stuff. None of that is relevant because at the end of the day, you can cry to this company all you want. You can talk down to them. You can say all this bad stuff about them and all this negative stuff. You can say they're kicking babies and injecting crack cocaine into people's arms on the streets all you want. But when you look at their bank accounts and they're sitting there saying, oh, we made another $200 million this quarter or whatever it is when we're still profitable, none of that matters. Now, the real solution that I believe that'll work the best for this to probably save the physical copies of the games, I think the best thing that the community and gamers should do going forward over the next year and a half, if you really care about having a physical copy of games and preserving physical media, this is what you probably should do. You should stop buying digital games. And from here on out, for the next year and a half, purchase all of your games physically. And not just physically, purchase them new from an official retailer, which means you have to get up, Oh, you barely have to get up. You could order it online to be delivered, but you have to take the effort to go online to your Best Buys, your Targets, your Walmarts, your Amazons, your GameStops. Me and GameStop got other beef we'll talk about much, much later because I don't even know. Well, I mean, getting rid of physical copies, that might actually bankrupt the company finally. That might actually kill GameStop once and for all, but that's going to take 2 years. So we're not even going to talk about that noise on that side. But you're going to have to go to whatever retailer that you have access to. Purchase the game physically, and you have to purchase it brand new. You cannot go on Amazon. You can't go on buy used games from GameStop. You can't go buy games secondhand from Facebook Marketplace or all that other stuff. You need to go to a legit brick and mortar store and purchase all of your games physically from here on out. Of course, to every game that you can buy physically. The goal in this situation is to turn that 84% digital to physical transition and flip that number. Even if it's just to 50-50, you may not have to do the full 84-16 split. But I wholeheartedly believe that if the entire gaming community that has a PlayStation and that buys PlayStation games legitimately shifts that number and says, hey, it was 84-16. Now it's, let's say 40-60. Let's say 60% of our games that we sold from here on out have been physical. And that number stays consistent or grows over the next year. I'm pretty positive Sony's going to change their mind. Because they're going to basically look at the numbers and go, everybody's buying physical games. It looks like people don't want to purchase them digitally. Now, the capitalist side point of this, and this is the kicker because capitalism is key in this. Sony is not your friend. Sony's next step, more than likely in that situation, if the community were to get together and actually do that part, they might pull a Nintendo where they go, hey, you can still buy games digitally, but they're cheaper digitally. Because Nintendo hopped on that train real quick, where now to get past, and they did that really mostly, I think, to get past the whole game key card issue, which really isn't that big of a deal either because I don't understand what people are expecting to get out of a tiny little Nintendo cartridge that is specific to Nintendo, unique, and has and there's a storage issue going on and all that other fun stuff for games that are like 100 gigs that they're going to put on the cartridge. I still don't understand what a lot of people's expectations are on that side. But they basically jumped in broom and said, okay, you guys hate game key cards? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make the price cheaper for digital releases. Star Fox just released on Switch 2. It's $50 digitally. It's $60 physically. So they're incentivizing you to buy the game digitally by saying, hey, you don't have to pay for the cardboard. Not the cardboard. You have to pay for the plastic case, the paper for the game, or the physical plastic and the materials for the cartridge. You just buy the game so you save $10 that way. Sony could do that next because they do have a lot of sales in the PlayStation Store generally throughout the season. No different than the Steam summer sales that they always do, summer, spring, fall, winter, and all that other fun stuff. They like to have games on sale too. If they do that, you have to resist and still not buy the games digitally and buy them physically, even if that means that you're going to spend more money. And we'll see how many more of you in the room walk out when you go, I could save $20 by just buying it digitally. Then you lose. You need to change we as a community, in order to make companies understand this, and Target had to learn this the hard way with the boycott that happened over the past couple years. You have to really hurt their pockets. And the methods of which you guys are saying, well, I'll never buy another PlayStation console right now. Well, the price of the consoles went up, so they're not really selling consoles like that anyway right now. They've already pretty much made as much money as that they're going to make on the consoles going forward until the whole storage thing settles itself out and the price will really kind of come back down. So that's not even the bottom market. They already made their money from PS Plus. Yes, they're probably going to lose some people at when the renewals come up over the next couple months or year or whatever like that. But still, that's not really going to hurt their true bottom line because people who are gamers, you're not letting that go. You need PS Plus to play online. At most, I see a lot of you guys lowering your subscriptions down to a lower tier because if it was the case, tell me that I can't play with my friends, I can't play with family members and all that other stuff online just over the games being digital only. That doesn't add up to me. And on top of that, I've already invested enough money in my gaming console, so there's that idea of just saying, no, I'm not paying for the online subscription. It's not going to happen. So the real solution here is to change that change that number and directions because they're already stating it in the document. They have the proof in the numbers. They're following consumer trends. And also they're going to be saving money too because they no longer have to produce Blu-ray discs and the packaging boxes and all that other stuff. So that's money they get to save. So if you tell them as a community, this is what I want. If Sony does care about their consumers, which for the most part, for what consumers want, they generally do. They don't give you everything you want, but they generally try to cater to what people want out of their consoles and generally give it to them. I believe if somebody up top goes, yeah, the community is buying up physical releases like nobody's end. The digital copies are cheaper than the physical copies. They're still buying the physical copies. They're not buying the digital copies. Maybe we need to rethink removing the digital, removing the all digital future. That's your best possibility. And if they just don't listen to that, if they don't listen to that and go for it anyway, well, you tried. But the way you're going about it now isn't going to change anything. And plus, if they've already made up their minds that the PlayStation 6 is going to be an all digital system, there's really not much we can really do about that. On top of that, the fact that because everything costs so much, we're already going to be looking at sticker shock whenever that comes up, unless things change. So the best way to hurt their pockets, or to better yet incentivize their pockets, buy physical games. Like from this, it's July 3rd. From today, for a whole calendar year, every single video game that comes out on the PlayStation platform that you can buy physically, because not all of them come physically, but that you can buy physically, you buy them physically. And the games that you can't buy physically, we're going to remove GTA out of this argument, because GTA is already going to be a bomb. Like, people are going to buy GTA regardless. That's non-negotiable. So we're going to remove GTA out of it. Let's just say the next Control comes out only digitally. Don't buy it. Or at least don't buy it on PlayStation. You can buy it on PC if that's what you want to do. Or I'm pretty positive it might end up on Game Pass. Well, we don't know what Xbox's situation is. Speaking of Xbox, they're on the same path too. Like, don't think Xbox is going to be your friend and talking about, oh, they have physical games. Nah, they're on the same path. They're on the exact same path. Their focus is on Game Pass, and which is an all digital platform anyway. They're pretty much cooked at this point because their system's going up in price again in August. And yeah, I don't see them maintaining disc. And then they're already talking about laying people off and trying to get rid of some of the studios they have and closing certain game developers down anyway. So Microsoft isn't your friend on this either. So don't even think or pray that Microsoft is going to be your friend and try to be the savior in this matter of fact either. There is the rumor that Microsoft is trying to work out a way to transition your physical copies into digital ones, which would help. That does help for game preservation to a degree, but then of course you're going to deal with the whole digital licensing thing, which I get people complaining that their licenses and games can be removed. I haven't physically experienced that just yet. Personally, a lot of times I think people complain about that because they get their accounts banned for doing stupid stuff, and they don't want to acknowledge the actions of the consequences of their own actions, which causes that whole ordeal. But like I said, those are niche situations, and I really don't focus so much on those type of instances. But none of these companies are going to be catering to you on that side. And you're going to see the jokes and the memes and everything like that. But Sony's doing it right now. I guarantee you, whenever they talk about Project Helix or actually get to a point of unveiling, they're going to be like, all digital system. And then the Xbox gamers are going to riot, which I doubt they're going to care, because there aren't many of them out there anymore, considering the fact that you can play Xbox games on PC through PC Game Pass and all that other stuff anywhere. So a lot of people that have Xbox, that play on Xbox, are probably playing on PC anyway. And there's no physical copies of games on PC. So once again, we're arguing things that are irrelevant. We're playing semantics and just playing this game of, I'm angry and I need to cry online. Do something about it. Personally, like I said, I like buying physical games. Hell, I think the last game I bought physically, I have it right over here, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I purchased this last month just to see what the achievement system was like. The game before that was Resident Evil Requiem. I have the deluxe edition of that with the steelbook. So, I purchase physical games. My games and franchises that I love, I have physically. I will be getting Resident Evil Veronica physically. I will be getting Persona 4 Revival physically. Onimusha, probably getting that digital because me and I'd be first going to share it. I would get Marvel Tokon physically, but the Ultimate Edition only comes digitally, so I'm getting that. So that's a digital game on that side. Ocarina of Time, I will get that physically. I gotta get Stage Tour, but that's gonna be physical because I gotta get new instruments. And then the new Control I'm getting physically. And I think there's another game, Wolverine, getting that physically as well. So I'm not on the bandwagon of like, oh, it doesn't really affect me that much, or I get that split. I like getting physical games. I like having the disc. I like it too. But I understand why. We have to understand how businesses operate And the best way to understand something is to do some research, learn how it operates, and see how you can shift it, because you can't win any battle or any game unless you know all the rules. If you don't know how the game is played, you honestly can't expect to win. So if you're going to be boycotting, if you're going to be crying online, if you're going to be saying all these things of what you should be doing, and don't make fun of people who just don't care. There's a lot of people that are going on there like this, like, oh, well, when they take your games away, you won't be saying much anyway. Like, no one, that person doesn't care. They don't care about your opinion. They don't care about your outrage. I understand about the whole preservation aspect, but at the same time, be honest with me in the comments. How many of you guys have read the terms and conditions on any game that you've purchased and just hit accept to, or the EULAs? We haven't truly owned games since probably the PS2 era, since before the online era really began. And even on consoles now, you put the disc in the game, the disc works as the license. It downloads the game either from the disc or from the store, puts it on the hard drive, and all the game data is stored on the hard drive digitally. It just uses the disc as your license key to say, hey, you own this, activate the game and play it. That's all it really operates to now. So we've already been living in this environment. We've just been having a disc for semantics. That's it. So tell me your thoughts. Tell me your opinions. If you like this video, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll do more conversation like this in the future. But that's my thought on it. That's my strategy to it. So if you guys agree with me, let me know in the bottom. If you guys disagree with me, we can argue in the comments. Keep it civil. I don't want to have blatant disrespect on there. I will block you guys if you're blatantly disrespectful, but that's my thoughts on it. Buy the games physically for the next year and a half. Flip that number around and see how fast Sony changes their mind. If they truly care about their gamers and communities, which I'm pretty positive, because if they're going to want to sell PlayStation 6 consoles, and they're probably going to have to get to the point of saying, hey, the system's going to be $1,000, you kind of want to make the rest of your gaming base happy before you do that. So pissing them off to this degree and maintaining that degree of anger all the way up through a new console release, that ain't a good look. And in which case, if they keep that this policy in place, even if you flip the numbers around, just don't buy a PlayStation 6. Best thing you can do at that point in time is to keep your PlayStation 5s. I mean, I don't see a big reason to upgrade to a new generation of system yet anyway, especially with the climate of the world. But if that's the case, hold on to your PlayStation 5s as long as you possibly can. But then also, we kind of have to live in that idea of, you know, this generation, the consoles actually didn't get cheaper. They got more expensive the longer you waited. So, you know, there's almost a lose-lose situation. But hopefully the political climate as well as the manufacturing and everything else kind of shifts before then. Fingers crossed. We'll see how that goes. But I've ranted enough. I've said my piece. Let me know what your thoughts in the comments are. Until next time, enjoy your holidays. I'll be back for a lot of Chaos Origins openings because I did get my hands on a case, a lot of booster packs, a Blizzard versus booster, and the token boxes. They did come out today, and I actually have to go pick them up because I did purchase them online for store pickup. So they are waiting for me at the store, which I will go get probably within the next hour or two when I'm out and about. So until next time, this is King Zeph. No time to explain. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.